What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Way Home podcast. My name is Annie Bender, and I'm a local realtor with the Weymouth Group of Keller Williams Realty Center in Columbia, Maryland.
And I'm Chris Weymouth, director of the Weymouth Group, and also commercial broker for KW Commercial and broker designee for KW.
Thanks so much for being with us. We know it's been a minute, but we are so happy to be back with you on the Way Home podcast. And we know this spring market has been a little crazy. And I'm sure there's a lot of headlines out there that are screaming for your attention, but we just wanted to take a few minutes to dive into our local market and let you know what we're seeing. So first, let's do a recap from the previous podcast and discuss what the national market is doing year over year. In 2020, we saw that overall sales were 6.5 million. In 2021, the overall sales were 6.9 million, which was an increase of 6%. Interest rates were low, which brought about a huge buyer demand, and affordability was very high for a lot of people. Then in 2022, it was a 27% drop to 5.03 million home sales. And in 2023, we're forecasted for 4.67 million in home sales, which is an 8% drop from the year before.
And some analysts are actually predicting a 14% decrease in sales with almost a 5.5% increase in pricing.
So Redfin Deputy Chief Economist Taylor Marr said in a statement, "This spring's housing market is hot, but cold."
What does that mean?
So, with scant listings making it less active than usual, but fast and competitive at the same time. So, Taylor Marr likens it to a game of musical chairs, saying that there's tons of buyers out there trying to find a seat in the game, but the bad news is there isn't enough chairs.
Yep. We are still in uncharted territories. We really haven't seen anything like this. It's funny, if you're a real estate agent who just got into this market for the first time, you're thinking, what the heck? If you're a real estate agent who's been in this market for 30 years, you're thinking, what the heck? It's really uncharted, absolutely uncharted.
Yeah. And so nationally, we're seeing a lack of inventory and lower median sales price than this time last year. However, we're also seeing that each local market is very different.
Yes, it is. So it's very important that you pay attention to your local market. You really do. We are sometimes, we're paying attention to the national market when we look at the news. For example, I was looking at the top 10 real estate markets in the country that they predict for 2024. So here are some of the cities that are really kind of crazy. Hartford, Connecticut, El Paso, Texas, Louisville, Kentucky, and one of my favorites, Worcester, Massachusetts. From my family side, and we're all there from Worcester, Massachusetts on my mother's side. So, but overall, down 14%, but the price is still up. Median price is up, still 5.5%.
So, speaking of local markets, let's dive into our local market here in Maryland. What are some of the pressures that are causing our local market to still experience this hot seller's market?
Over here, there's a tremendous amount of pressure for inventory. We are seeing that typically the bellwether, what we see in the market as to whether price is going up or down, whatever, is new homes. We really can't gauge it on new homes that much anymore because there's such a lack of inventory for new homes. And it's not even an outlier. Builders are in so much pressure to keep their prices down. So what they're doing, they're eliminating a lot of features in the home to make it more affordable, but their pressures are external. Land prices are just through the roof. And then two, permitting costs, impact fees are just absolutely crazy. Builders are not making nearly the amount of money they were in the past. And we're seeing some builders get out of this business. They're moving to different counties where there's less restrictions, for instance, in Howard County. And we're also seeing that that just it's difficult to buy a new home. It really is because you're paying a premium price for it.
Yeah.
And then the second pressure that we're seeing, lack of inventory for resale. Sellers are just not selling their home.
And why?
Where are they going to go? The average interest rate right now for a seller is in 4.5%. That's our average interest rate. And what's today's interest rate?
About 6.5, I think, last time I checked.
Exactly. So the house that they bought for $400,000 probably would be going between $600,000 and $700,000 today. Would you agree? Maybe it's a little bit high. But all right, so let's say they want to get out of this $400,000 home that they paid for, but at that 4.5% interest rate. I'm at 2 3/4 for a 15-year. I ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they want to move and they get to a price that's higher with a higher interest rate. It's crazy. They're not saying, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people that I've been talking to are just talking or wanting to stay put and see what happens really with the market. If they're comfortable where they are, if they have enough space, they're just going to hold on to it. And some even think, well, maybe if I really need to buy, I'll just rent out my house because I don't want to lose this interest rate. You'll never get this again.
No, this
So,
is a perfect opportunity if you want to be an investor
mm-hmm.
and if you have the wherewithal, the means in order to buy another home and you want to hold on to your real estate, that's how you build wealth,
Yeah.
especially for your family.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to wrap up why sellers don't want to move, we're going to say that they want to hold on to that interest rate. And because sellers aren't moving, we have this lack of inventory, which means we're still experiencing the same competition that we were experiencing in spring 2022. Sure, there's a few differences, and we could dive into that more if you want. But at the end of the day, buyers are still having to make extremely competitive offers in order to win home sales.
You're experiencing that now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know in guiding first time home buyers, it's especially a challenge because competing today where we live, it's a lot of people love living here. It's very competitive, prices are high, but to win the home sale, buyers have to assume a lot of risk if it's a multiple offer situation because sellers are just looking at what gets them the most amount of money and the least amount of hassle, which means buyers are having to take on that stress of paying as much as they can and taking on all the hassle of what does this house have that I don't know about?
You mentioned something interesting that popped out at me. You said buyers are assuming a lot of risk when they're doing a purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the price being high and some overpaying 30, 40, 50,000 more, in some cases 100. It's just crazy. What is the other thing, the risk that they take?
Inspections. I know it can be glamorous for sellers to get offers without inspections because it means they don't have to show their house anymore. They can put all their shoes back where they were and their kids can run around again. They don't have to worry about picking up after them for at least 30 more days.
No more making the beds.
No more making the beds, things like that. So it's sellers like it because of that. And it's one less chance that the buyer has to either negotiate to get concessions or cancel if there's something that's too big or too overwhelming for them to handle financially.
What can a buyer do to avoid that?
So we do not recommend waiving inspections. And we'll say that buyers will still do that. And I understand because they want to win offers. But if you have an inspector, if your buyer agent has an inspector that they love, call them and talk to them about pre-inspections. I know I'm getting emails from inspectors saying, "Wait, don't don't forego." Just reminder emails of we're still here, and we still can provide a great service and give some sort of confidence when you're writing a non-contingent offer. And they'll actually take about an hour and do a walk and talk. They'll look at all of the major appliances and the roof and everything like that to help you gauge what you're getting into. It's not going to be as in depth as a maybe 2 to 3 hour inspection, but it's definitely better than nothing.
You know, it's something I didn't even think about. I know that with that inventory being down low, all right, and there's not many mortgages being originated that's out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even think about it. It's a double whammy for home inspectors.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as much inventory, but at the same time, home inspections are being waived, and they're not getting a chance to get their foot in the door.
Yeah. I know. I had a call from one of our go-to inspectors. He's like, "What's going on with the market?"
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, he's like, "Did I do something? Like, do you guys not like me anymore?" I'm like, "It has nothing to do with you. We love you." But even so, I've had buyers, they're submitting offers with inspection contingencies, and it's so disheartening to hear that they're beat out by offers that waive things entirely. And I just want to I want everybody to know that if you're thinking about waiving it entirely, there is an option of a pre-inspection. You will be out a couple $100 if you don't win the offer, but it's better to be out a couple $100 for something that you really tried your best for rather than to buy a home with all these unforeseen issues. So that's my recommendation. Quick
Wow.
tip.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, that being said, sellers don't want to move. We're experiencing the same kind of pressures we were last year. Buyers are still having to sell an arm and a leg to get a house. So, with all that being said, why would someone want to buy a house right now?
Think about lifestyle.
What
It's
do you mean?
it's all about lifestyle. You're living in a city.
Mm-hmm.
You're living in Federal Hill and Canton, and I tell you, those are fun places to live. They really are. The restaurants, the excitement, the nightlife, and everything else like that. And all of a sudden, we grow up and we have a kid, and it's time to move. And it's difficult to raise a child in the city. And if you're living in a townhome and you're not in the city, you want more room. I mean, we've how many times have we gone into a townhome and we walked these townhomes with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths, and they got a crib in one room and the
Two
bed
beds in the other.
he had 2 beds in the other, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like they're busting at the seams and they
Yeah.
want to get out,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's all about lifestyle. And I would recommend it. Even with this market being as difficult as it is for a buyer, I would still recommend you do that because it's all about lifestyle and it's about your children. And we as parents, we do make a lot of sacrifices for our kids. We made tremendous sacrifices for you and Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
and in moving to neighborhoods where we overpaid. We paid premiums for this, but I'm telling you, I mean, look how you turned out. Well, you did all right. It was such a benefit for us to move into neighborhoods where the schools were just really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that being said, thinking about lifestyle, you want to have a lifestyle that you love, but also you don't want to get into something that's financially uncomfortable. So there's kind of this balance that you have to find of where it might be a stretch for a little bit. Interest rates will go down, but don't count on them getting to those twos or threes.
No,
Make
no,
sure that
yeah.
you're calculating these payments with maybe interest rates going to the fives, maybe one day the fours. What do you
Mhm.
think?
Well, the Fed just, for the 10th time in a row, raised
Mm-hmm.
their rate. Now we're at 5.5%. They hinted that that's it. You know, we're seeing what inflation was at 8, 9%. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
down. What was the latest inflation
I
number?
think it's like the upper fours.
Upper four. So it's going in the right direction. It really is. But money is still tight. It
Mm-hmm.
is so tight. You know, we're seeing our government printing money, and there's so much pressure on social programs. And we're seeing what's happening at the borders right now. So many people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that you have to have any particular persuasion in order, political persuasion as to whether you believe in immigration or whether you don't. But the facts are the facts. It's going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on local and national programs in order to take care of these migrants,
Mm-hmm.
really. So we're seeing money being tight, and we're still seeing prices at grocery stores are crazy. There was interesting. I saw an article, saw an interview with the owner of Red Apple grocery stores in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
He was so angry. He was so angry because he's seeing that the government's doing nothing to stave off pricing in these grocery stores, eggs, milk, the most important staples that are out there. And he says it's out of their control. It really is. And the government is really not doing anything to ease that up just yet. So as families, we're seeing pressures with that. And so it's hard. It really is. But if you do have the wherewithal and fortunately we're in an area where we have great employment,
Mm-hmm.
great income. We have one of the highest income earning people in the nation, and they can afford these homes, and prices reflect the income. And but if you can do it, I would do it.
Mm-hmm. So if you have that job security, if you have the wherewithal to take on that increase of monthly payments, know that it could go down, will go down in the future. And people say, why shouldn't I just wait until it goes down to buy a house? Our go-to lender, Frank Antico, always says that, okay, so you want to wait until the interest rates go back down to buy a house. Well, just think. so is everyone else. So as soon as they go back down, you're going to have this influx of buyers. It's not going to get any easier to get your home.
Because inventory is not going to change.
Exactly. So secure your house now, secure your price now, and know that when interest rates do go back down, you can refinance and then have a monthly payment that you love again, not just one that you're comfortable with.
Right. Right. I agree. To wrap it up, we're going to see the spring of 2023 about the same as 2022 and tight inventories. Prices are still going to be going up a little bit. Interest rates are going to ease up a little bit, so take advantage of it, but it's going to be the same old, same old. And if you're a real estate in this industry, I'm telling you, just stay in touch with the people that you know and love, and because they are going to need a lot of help. So as a real estate agent, know your market, know your numbers. It is so important. I mean, this is not a time for a real estate professional to sit back and just wait for clients to call them. You have to do things in order to get those calls to come in. And then part of that is educating yourself and getting yourself as the market professional. And that's knowing the numbers.
Yeah. And that's what people need, because in these challenging times, sellers need to know how to price their home accordingly and prepare it for sale to get that best price that they possibly can, to get those multiple offers. Because you can still price high and sit on the market, you know? But if you price it right, you can get some really great offers with great terms.
Great terms, yes. And as a buyer, and you have a really good real estate professional, boy, I'm telling you, they're going to be able to position you in such a way that you have a winning offer. It's really, really that's important. Make sure as a real estate agent, know your numbers and get together with a really good real estate pro.
And a great lender and a great inspector.
Yes, don't forget the inspectors.
Yes.
They got to eat too.
No, but they're here to make sure that your knowledge, that you have knowledge of what you're going into.
Yeah.
And they're here to help protect you through this process.
Yep.
So thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We will put our numbers here for you. And we are actually doing a very fun podcast next week. It's with our go-to title company, Assurance Title LLC. Should I give a hint away?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be spicy. Let's just say that. So be sure to watch out for that next video with Assurance Title. Please be sure to like and subscribe and share this if you found this helpful. That's all we're here to do. We just want to help you out and make sure that you are having an incredible real estate experience and building wealth for you and your family. Thank you. We hope you have
great job, Annie.
A great evening.
You're so smart.
You're so smart.
No, you're smarter.
You should get a raise.
Okay.
Then you say, I should get a raise.
You should get a raise.
Oh, okay. I'll take a raise.
Wonderful. God bless everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And I'm Chris Weymouth. I am director of the Weymouth Group, broker designee for...
You're talking to the mic.
And I'm Chris Weymouth, broker designee...